President Alexander Stubb delivers his first New Year's speech with a special call. Big changes will take place in Finland in 2025. Investigation and legal actions related to the Eagle S ship. Fire at a kindergarten in Vantaa caused by fireworks. On January 1st, President Alexander Stubb delivered his first New Year's speech since taking office. Breaking from tradition, the speech was broadcast live instead of pre-recorded as in recent years. At the beginning of his address, he offered encouragement to the Finnish people amid global uncertainty. We are living in times when our sense of security is shaken daily. However, I assure you, we will overcome these challenges and build a better future together. On foreign policy, the president emphasized that Russia remains the greatest security threat, even though it poses no direct risk of war with Finland. He reaffirmed Finland's steadfast support for Ukraine. Regarding domestic affairs, the president urged political parties to collaborate in fostering sustainable economic growth. He also highlighted the importance of human values. We must uphold our core principles, boundaries that do not discriminate by age, gender, religion, or ethnicity. Racism is not part of Finland's identity. Closing his speech, he wished everyone a happy new year and expressed confidence in the unity and resilience of the Finnish people. The address brought a fresh perspective, balancing national security with the promotion of humanitarian values in these challenging times. As we enter 2025, several significant changes in tax policies, social support, and living costs will impact daily life. 1. Increase in VAT. Prices for goods like books, medicines, and cultural entertainment services will rise as VAT increases from 10% to 14%. 2. Reduced VAT on essential products. VAT on hygiene products such as sanitary pads and baby diapers will decrease from 25.5% to 14%. 3. Electricity pricing adjustments. Market electricity prices will now be calculated in 15-minute intervals instead of hourly, allowing for more precise pricing predictions. 4. Reduction in family subsidies. The maximum tax deduction for household services will drop to €1,600. 5. Changes to housing support. Homeowners will no longer be eligible for general housing support starting in 2025. 6. Support for families with young children. Income tax will be slightly reduced for families with children under 18 years old. 7. Increased fees for passports and ID cards. The cost of online passport applications will rise from €44 to €53. 8. Lower public broadcasting tax. The threshold for public broadcasting tax will increase from €14,000 to €15,150, with the maximum tax reduced to €160. These changes are expected to have a considerable impact, particularly on low- and middle-income groups. The legal investigation involving the Eagle S vessel is underway, revealing several significant developments. 7 crew members of the ship are currently under suspicion for committing severe vandalism and obstructing communications following allegations that the ship caused substantial damage to the submarine cable system between Finland and Estonia. Although the crew members have not been arrested, they are subject to travel restrictions to ensure cooperation with the investigation while maintaining the ship's operations. Notably, the police have entirely dismissed claims that the Eagle S was carrying espionage equipment intended for military purposes. Meanwhile, technical inspections are ongoing. Underwater investigation images reveal signs of impact on the ship's hull, including fresh scratches and peeling paint, believed to have been caused by an anchor chain. These findings are crucial in determining the legal responsibility of the crew and the ship's owner. Should serious violations be confirmed, the Finnish Transport and Communications Agency, Traficom, could suspend the operations of the Eagle S until all issues are rectified. This decision will hinge on the results of detailed inspections and the ship's compliance with international maritime safety regulations. In the meantime, repairs to the damaged submarine cables will commence as soon as weather conditions improve and on-site investigations are concluded. The oil tanker Eagle S, managed by India-based Peninsular Maritime, is under investigation for allegedly damaging submarine cables in the Gulf of Finland. The ship management company has multiple ties to Russia and is reportedly associated with managing several vessels from Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet. Peninsular Maritime oversees 8 vessels, including the Marabella Sun, which was previously sanctioned by the EU for transporting Russian crude oil. Additionally, Many ships under the company's management are registered in countries like the Marshall Islands and the Cook Islands, with unclear ownership records. The Eagle S is currently owned by Caravella LLCFC, a company registered in the UAE. Reports indicate that the ship has a history of safety violations. The crew, consisting of approximately 20 individuals, mainly Indian and Georgian nationals, includes some members suspected of involvement in the cable damage. The ship's lawyer, Herman Ljungberg, has criticized Finnish authorities for their treatment of the crew, citing restrictions on communication and access to legal support. However, Finnish police have denied these allegations, asserting that living conditions aboard the ship remain normal. The incident is being investigated under serious allegations, including vandalism and disruption of communications. On New Year's Eve, a massive fire broke out at Chimera Kindergarten in the Askisto area of Vantaa. Preliminary investigations by police indicate that fireworks struck the building, igniting a widespread blaze. The two-story kindergarten suffered extensive damage, with part of the building demolished to extinguish lingering fires. Fortunately, the other half of the structure remained intact, and there were no casualties as the building was unoccupied at the time. Police are treating the incident as a possible act of vandalism. Security footage shows two young men launching fireworks on the school grounds, with one firework hitting the building. Their identities have yet to be determined. The fire has severely disrupted the kindergarten's operations. Vantaa city authorities announced that classes would be relocated to an alternative facility starting January 7th, after the holiday break. Although the fire did not completely destroy the building, the significant damage makes it unusable for the foreseeable future. From the beginning of 2025, the Finnish government will reduce housing subsidies in 6 cities: Lappeenranta, Kouvola, Kajaani, Pori, Mikkeli, and Vaasa. These areas will be moved to Group 3 in Keela's housing subsidy classification system, with a lower maximum housing cost accepted. This means that residents in these areas will have to pay a larger share of their rent. For example, in Lappeenranta, individuals living alone can only receive a maximum of €275.8 per month, even though rent in the city typically exceeds this amount. This decision puts significant pressure on students who are already facing financial difficulties. From the fall of 2025, around 200,000 students will shift from the general housing subsidy system to student housing subsidies, with the maximum amount being only 80% of rent costs and only applicable during study periods. It is estimated that around 150,000 students will receive lower subsidies, averaging a reduction of more than €100 per month. Ilona Taubert, a social policy expert at the Tampere Student Union, TRE, criticized that students are being unfairly treated by not receiving welfare benefits like other groups. Meanwhile, rent prices in major cities continue to rise by 1% to 4%, adding further strain on students. Elisa Marcu, a real estate agent in Lappeenranta, mentioned that it is very difficult to find an apartment for less than €400, even far from the city center. At the same time, the demand for affordable housing, especially shared apartments and dormitories, is growing rapidly, but the supply cannot keep up. For students, the reduction in subsidies, combined with rising rent costs, forces many to consider changing housing, even though this negatively impacts their studies and daily life. In the early hours of Saturday, January 4th, a serious traffic accident occurred in Klokkala, Nurmijärvi, resulting in the deaths of 4 teenagers aged 17 to 19. According to the police, the car slid off the road and fell into the Litajoki River. The initial cause is believed to be slippery roads and the driver's lack of experience. The police and the Accident Information Institute are conducting an investigation to determine the exact time and cause of the accident. The scene of the incident was a small bridge crossing the river, where the weather conditions at the time were very cold, with temperatures around -13 to -14 degrees Celsius. The local community and authorities expressed deep sorrow. The Klokkala Church will hold a special prayer service on Sunday evening, January 5th, to remember the victims and provide psychological support to those affected. The accident has raised concerns about traffic safety and calls for improvements in infrastructure in dangerous areas, such as the site of the incident. The city of Narvik in Norway, with a population of just under 14,000, is becoming the focal point of strategic plans related to Finland and Sweden. This port city is famous for its ice-free harbor year-round and the Ofatbanen Railway, which has been used for over 120 years to transport iron ore from Swedish mines to the world. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Narvik has gained even more strategic importance. Finland and Sweden's accession to NATO has turned the railway and harbor into critical routes for both goods and military transportation. Amid the crisis, Narvik could become Finland's most important export port, replacing the Baltic Sea routes. However, the current railway still faces many challenges, such as harsh weather conditions and limitations in storage and operational capacity. The Norwegian government and neighboring countries are planning to upgrade infrastructure, including improving railways and expanding the harbor. Narvik is not only attracting attention from Nordic countries, but also from global powers like China and Kazakhstan, which are seeking new routes for shipping goods via the Arctic. This small city is gradually becoming a key bridge between Europe, Asia, and North America. This week, OP Fund Company announced the suspension of trading in two of its real estate funds, OP Property Services and OP Rental Income. This decision directly affects more than 50,000 investors, mostly individuals, preventing them from withdrawing or making additional investments. According to CEO Juha Takala, the main reason for this decision is the gloomy state of the real estate market, where selling large assets to meet withdrawal demands has become difficult and property prices continue to fall. The move is aimed at preventing the sale of assets below their real value, thereby protecting the interests of investors. Currently, not only OP but also many other funds such as Mandatum, EQ, Evli, Spanki, and Allensbanken have implemented similar measures. It is expected that the waiting period for withdrawals could extend to 12 months or more. Experts believe this situation serves as a valuable lesson about the illiquid nature of real estate, even when included in investment funds. Professor Vesa Pettinen from Aalto University stated that, in the current context, the decision to close the funds is reasonable to avoid widespread negative effects on the market. Despite this, many investors remain concerned about the future and are hopeful for market recovery in the near future. Many cities in Finland may have to cover up to half of the costs for loss-making regional flights if a viable business solution cannot be found. The government is expected to discuss this issue in the spring of 2025 during the midterm meeting, with the cost-sharing model of Savonlinna being used as an example. According to this model, the city of Savonlinna and the government share the costs equally, with each side expected to contribute around 1 million euros in 2025. These flights, such as those to Joensuu, Kemi, and Jyväskylä, currently do not meet the necessary usage levels to sustain themselves. Some cities, like Kokkola, believe that large industrial investments will increase demand for travel, making the flights more viable in the future. However, other cities, such as Jyväskylä, are exploring more cost-effective options, such as using smaller aircraft. The Ministry of Transport is also considering alternative solutions, such as combining flights with buses or improving rail services. The final decision will have a significant impact on regional connectivity and economic development. An increasing number of workers in Finland are finding management roles unappealing. According to a recent survey by the Young Leaders Federation, 49% of Finns are not interested in taking on leadership roles. Work pressure, large responsibilities, and heavy administrative demands are the main reasons for their reluctance. Maria Perry, a senior climate expert, tried management but decided to return to her specialized work. She explained that being in a leadership position made her feel she missed out on engaging in interesting professional tasks. Additionally, the responsibility of looking after employees' mental health during the pandemic only added more pressure. Similarly, Timo Haltula, a former business director, also chose to abandon a management role to focus on meaningful work with clients. He shared that pursuing a career path that aligns with one's strengths and personal circumstances is far more important than climbing the career ladder. Labor expert Annalisa Marisari noted that many workers today value personal time and clarity in their work over social status. In an increasingly complex and uncertain work environment, choosing to be a specialist rather than a leader has become a common trend. At the beginning of 2025, the Tampere region is seeing the highest demand for labor in the fields of commerce, hospitality, and information and communications technology, ICT. According to Sami Heikkila from the city's recruitment services, nearly 70% of recruitment demand is focused on these sectors, along with industries like manufacturing, construction, and real estate. Additionally, jobs in installation, elderly care, early childhood education, and construction are also in high demand. However, many companies require applicants to be ready to start immediately, making recruitment challenging. Heikkila recommends that businesses ease their standards to provide training opportunities for potential candidates. Regulars Finland currently has 20 open positions in Tampere, including both permanent and summer jobs. Tero Rakalainen, the company's industrial design director, emphasized that they welcome new graduates and are ready to provide training. In the face of an economically challenging environment, job seekers in Tampere need to be proactive across various channels to seize opportunities. At the emergency department of Turku University Hospital, TYKS, the overload has persisted for several weeks, causing exhaustion for both patients and healthcare staff. According to Chief Physician Juha Peltonen, patients have to wait from 2 to 5 days before being transferred to treatment wards. Many elderly patients fall into confusion due to the lack of rest in a quiet environment. Continuous lighting and the lack of personal space disrupt their biological rhythms, leading to anxiety, agitation, and even aggressive behavior. Additionally, nurses are forced to take on meal preparation duties, impacting the time spent caring for patients. We spend hours preparing breakfast for dozens of patients, which is not within our expertise, said Nurse Suvi Luotonen. Other departments at the hospital have supported TYKS during this emergency by accepting additional patients. However, the infrastructure and workforce are still insufficient to meet the demand. We hope the situation will improve next week, Dr. Peltonen stated, emphasizing the need to strengthen capacity and reduce patient waiting times. According to data, the H1N1 influenza virus is considered the most likely cause of the next pandemic. These viruses have the ability to mix genetic material, creating new strains that spread more easily between humans and animals. For example, the H5N1 avian influenza virus has shown signs of mutation in multiple areas, raising concerns within the scientific community. The World Health Organization, WHO, has also listed around 30 pathogens that could potentially cause a pandemic. Most countries, including Finland, have developed response scenarios for 3 levels of pandemics: mild, moderate, and severe. Despite thorough preparations, it remains difficult to predict the exact timing and cause of the next pandemic. In particular, crises such as natural disasters or conflicts could exacerbate its impact. At the end of 2024, pharmacies in Finland were overwhelmed as many residents rushed to buy medication before new regulations took effect in 2025. Starting January 1st, the initial copayment will increase from 50 to 70 euros, while the annual medication cost cap will rise from 626.94 euros to 633.17 euros. Additionally, the value-added tax on medications will increase from 10% to 14%, raising concerns that drug prices could rise significantly. However, pharmacists noted that the tax increase typically only adds a few cents to the cost. At many pharmacies, such as in Tampere and Valkeakoski, the number of customers surged, putting significant pressure on staff. Pharmacist Marja Saralainen explained that many customers were purchasing ahead to avoid paying the higher copayment in January. It is expected that the pressure on pharmacies will gradually decrease after the New Year's holiday. The emergency department at Nova Hospital in Jyväskylä was overwhelmed last weekend, with more than 100 patients simultaneously waiting for treatment. Among them, 20 to 30 were awaiting emergency care, while the rest had to wait for a bed to be transferred for further treatment. The average wait time, which was initially a few hours, stretched to 20 hours or even more than a day. Pharmacist Tommy Kavasma stated that the main cause was the inpatient departments being fully occupied, forcing many patients to stay in the emergency department. Some patients were asked to go home overnight due to a lack of beds. Hospital corridors were also filled with makeshift beds, creating a field hospital atmosphere. This situation was exacerbated by the Christmas holiday when other healthcare services were closed. Mr. Kavasma predicted that the situation would last until the end of next week. Despite the significant pressure, The medical staff continued to work diligently to maintain the quality of care for patients, even as the healthcare system in central Finland faces major challenges. The Finnish government has approved a proposal to amend the Basic Education Act, aiming to limit the use of mobile phones in schools. This regulation will come into effect on August 1, 2025, with the goal of creating a more focused and effective learning environment. According to the new rules, students will only be allowed to use their phones during class with special permission from the teacher, such as for learning purposes or personal health needs. Additionally, schools will have the authority to decide on mobile phone usage during breaks or lunchtime, with clear regulations in place. Minister of Education Anders Adlercreutz emphasized that the ban would not only improve concentration but also promote direct social interaction among students. He hopes that schools will use this regulation to reduce dependence on mobile phones and encourage healthy activities during breaks. The proposal has received widespread support from both the government and the opposition, promising positive changes in the school environment. Thousands of used Christmas trees are being recycled by being dropped into lakes and seas in Finland to improve water quality. This initiative was launched after research in the Pien-Saimaa region, where scientists discovered that sinking trees into water significantly increases the number of bottom-dwelling animals, biodiversity, and fish populations. This method is not new. Fishermen had previously used it to create breeding grounds for fish. However, it is now being widely applied to enhance environmental benefits. Currently, Christmas trees are being dropped in areas such as Lapland, Pirkanmaa, and even the capital Helsinki. Besides Finland, the method has gained international interest, with Canada, where a similar approach was used hundreds of years ago, considering reapplying it. Furthermore, projects in places like Marihaka, Helsinki, and Virilahti combine tree sinking with the restoration of heavily polluted water areas, contributing to a more sustainable living environment for ecosystems. On January 1st, Tunmaa, a municipality in the South Savo region of Finland, officially merged with its neighboring municipality Mantaharaizu after facing a severe financial crisis due to the healthcare and social welfare reform. The prolonged healthcare and social welfare reform forced Tunmaa to incur massive costs for healthcare services, with total expenditures from 2018 to 2022 amounting to €4 million, equivalent to the entire annual salary fund for municipal employees. These expenses caused Tunmaa's budget to dwindle. Despite the merger, Tunmaa remains proud of its history and strong sense of community. Established in 1926, the municipality was once considered a phenomenon, with fewer permanent residents than vacation homes. Notably, the ABC Quarerti rest stop, a well-known break point on Highway 5, played a significant role in maintaining the region's economic vitality. According to Leena Ruotsalainen, former mayor of Tunmaa, this could be just the beginning of a new wave of mergers in Finland, as many small municipalities are facing similar challenges.